Hey guys, it's Martina. Come on in, come on in. We are going to be going live today with a rule and come on in, come on in. We're going to be going live today with Arul Nigam, which is really exciting. Hey Arul, how are you today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, and yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So very excited to have you on Expressions Challenge Live today. So this is awesome. I am Martina, and we are going to be talking about your amazing program called Heroes of COVID, which you founded yourself, which is super cool. And you've
Thank
been
you so much.
having much success with it. You've got some cool, notable recognition that we'll talk about today as well. But before we hop into all those goodies, tell us a little bit about your background. You're from Virginia, I know. You're a sophomore in high school, so give us your deets.
Yeah, so I'm actually finishing out my junior year in high school this week at Thomas
Awesome.
Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Alexandria, so Northern Virginia. But yeah, so basically just a little bit about my background. Charity has always been like a really big part of like the way I was raised, and my parents have like emphasized it a lot. So every Thanksgiving, like my sister and I, sorry, my sister and I would like we cook things and like donate it to homeless shelters, or like around the holidays we organize like a toy drive, and we like deliver or like yeah like we deliver the toys to like kids who are staying at the hospitals over like Christmas and over the holidays. So that's always been like something really really important to me, and just like what like when all this started, I was looking for any ways that I could help out, and that's sort of how I got started on this.
That's awesome. I think that that's highly commendable of you. And I love that, your family, your parents have instilled into you and your sister a premise of giving that's very important, to be able to recognize you need to reach back, give back, and help others. And
Yes.
I really appreciate how, you being, and my apologies, you're a junior in high school, how you at a junior in high school have recognized opportunity in a positive way to start your own initiative by giving back, which is Heroes of COVID. And so tell us a little bit about Heroes in COVID, and then we'll go into some other areas because you have a really great story.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So basically, around like the second or third week of March, when school first got canceled and everything, I was like paying a lot of attention to the news, as everyone was, and I heard all these stories about how like healthcare workers, they were so overwhelmed like with their work that they didn't have the time to like do grocery and cook their own meals, and because of PPE shortages, like they couldn't leave the hospital to go buy food or anything like that. And especially for the night shifts, they like restaurants were closed to begin with. So that was something that was really surprising to me, that like these healthcare workers couldn't get food like while they were working. And especially I felt like in America, like that's really not something that you would expect. And at the same time, we've all heard so many stories about how like like small like family owned or local restaurants are like suffering a lot right now, and many of them are being forced to like shutter their doors. And so I sort of eventually realized that those two issues sort of go together, because these restaurants are suffering because they there's no one like there's not enough demand for them to supply their food, and then healthcare workers are suffering because they don't have the time to go buy their food. So once I realized that, I basically set up a fundraiser and sent it out, and basically just started using the money from the fundraisers to buy food from the restaurants and have it delivered to the hospitals.
That's awesome. So I want to hone in on 2 points that you just mentioned. Maybe three, definitely two for sure. So the two pieces, um, you know, and that I'm recognizing coming out of your story is partnerships. So I
Yes.
think that that's very important. And for you to be in high school and realize an opportunity to do some due diligence, do some research. You see a problem that's taking place across the country based on you listening to the news. Then you identified and said, hey, there is a problem here. I know that I can provide a solution. And the solution that you developed was that you were able to identify and work with organizations, other businesses essentially, that could provide a service of food to fulfill a need that you recognize taking place in the medical industry. So my question hinges on partnerships. Can you talk a little bit about your process and how you were able to develop partnerships?
Yeah, definitely. So, the first thing was like identifying like where the need was the greatest, and so basically like the hotspots. And so there's like we're really fortunate that there's a lot of great data available. So, the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center, or like the New York Times analysis were really great for identifying not only where cases are growing the most, but also where hospitals are like most overwhelmed, basically, because for example, like in a lot of smaller states there's a huge like relative increase in cases, but not, fortunately the hospitals still aren't as overwhelmed. So initially that's what I had to do to find like where I want to create partnerships, but basically from that point I just did research into which hospitals were dealing, you know, like with the most cases and which were the most overwhelmed. And I just like online, I just tried to find any contacts I could for people sort of working in the hospital, like administration, and sort of just reached out to them, told them like about me, about like what my plan was and like what I was trying to do, and just tried to find anyone who would be open to this and to working with me, especially because especially right now, a lot of hospitals have policies against like or they have a lot of restrictions, at least around allowing like basically like food donations. So, but once, or like sharing food and things like that. But uh, once I was able to like successfully get a hold and get a contact there, I started doing research and finding trying to find partners at restaurants as well. And so I initially I was basically just like Googling and trying to find like popular small restaurants, preferably like family-owned restaurants whenever I could, that were in the area. And I eventually found that restaurants that were already had a history of philanthropy were much more enthusiastic and a lot easier to work with. So I started like through Instagram and Facebook, basically through social media, trying to find restaurants that were already active with this sort of stuff. And so basically did the same thing as what I did with the hospitals, just reaching out, sharing like my story and like what I'm trying to do. And I've been really lucky to find a lot of like amazing partners all over the country.
That's wonderful. Okay, wow. So that's a new point. I mean, you reached out not only to local businesses or organizations based on kind of like a plot, we'll say, of where hospitals are located, but you also saw this opportunity to bring in national restaurants or food chains to also support you.
So rather, I thought about that initially, but rather than using like national chains, I decided to go with like smaller restaurants because, fortunately, like larger chains are much better equipped to sort of like weather this out. But I think I forgot where it was, but I think I saw something that like 3 and 4 basically like mom and pop shops are gonna like or in certain areas at least will like go out of business because of this pandemic. So I decided to focus on like small local restaurants and family owned if I could. And another point I tried to look at was like locally sourced food, or like if they use like farmer markets or anything like that, so I could indirectly support them as well.
That's wonderful. That's very smart too. I
Thank you
think
so
that
much.
you are just listening to you, and how you have formalized your business and your thought process. You're mixing in research and you're also looking at analytics. So I really love your approach and your strategy of executing Heroes of COVID and giving back. And so
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. You are very welcome. And with that question, I have another. So do you actually have like a formalized business plan that you wrote out, or, you know, are you just kind of building the plane in the air as you go along?
Yeah, so I don't have like a formalized business plan, although I'm using a lot of like like organizational sort of like from the background that I have. So like mapping everything out and keeping track of like using spreadsheets and everything, like keeping track of like basically like the budget and like the transactions. But even though I don't have like a formal business plan, I'm sort of using uh, like like the technical skills in entrepreneurship that I've learned from like other stuff before. So over the past like past few summers, I've done basically like these summer programs at MIT Sloan and then Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania, and I was really fortunate to be able to go to those, and they've been really valuable in that. So basically, they were teaching about like entrepreneurship and finance, and those have been really valuable in sort of like building up this initiative and scaling it. So even though I don't have like a formalized plan, I'm using a lot of like the technical tools to sort of like to organize this basically.
Sure. No, I mean, it's very smart. It's brilliant. I mean, I love it. You without, and I mean, even not even having a formalized business plan, you're doing a really great job.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
you're welcome. So let's touch on something that I like you just said was about you are again. So last summer you were transitioning from your sophomore year to your junior year of high school.
Right.
And then you took advantage of opportunities at Wharton as well as MIT Sloan, or
Right.
Sloan rather.
Yeah.
So I think that's super cool. I know we briefly talked about this in advance of our chat today, and tell us a little bit about how you got engaged with those programs, and do you recommend other teams take advantage of programs, whether it's at Mid Sloan or Wharton or other universities?
Yeah, definitely. Like any any like university you're able to, you should definitely reach out because those programs are like really valuable. Like they, especially since like you're like getting to learn from like faculty there, it's like really valuable and really helpful. But basically the way I got involved was like for the MIT Sloan one, it was initially like that program was restricted for I basically like post college, like people who are already working like in industry. But I basically reached out to them and sort of just like explain like my passion and like why I really wanted to participate. And so they made, I was really happy to see that they basically made an exception and allowed me to participate, even though I was like younger than like sort of what they allow. But I think since then they sort of like expanded it as or created an at least like an additional program for younger people. Since I was like, I think I was like the youngest participant they had, so it wasn't really although I learned a lot, it wasn't really targeted for my demographic. But I guess the lesson I got from that is like you shouldn't allow like sort of like artificial boundaries to like prevent you, because even though like I was below the age limit, just reaching out, I was really lucky that they made an exception. So if you want something, you should you should ask and you should explain your passion, and a lot of the time people will make exceptions for you.
That's awesome. I love that. That's really great advice. And then too, on the heels of that advice, so what were some of the classes that you took at either of the programs that actually directly impacted you or helped you to start Heroes of COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I guess both of them touched a lot on like networking and business planning, which were really helpful for like being able to like get people to be like willing to work with me, especially since since I'm like a high schooler. I thought I like people would sort of like discount me and like not really be willing to work, but I think a lot of the skills that I got from that helped me like better present like my case and convince people to work with me. But also a lot about especially in the Warden one, there's a lot about accounting and statistics. So those were both helpful for like working on the budget and planning all of that out. And then also like the statistics was that was those classes were like really helpful for figuring out like which hotspots and which places to work with.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like it also helped with like your analytics as you're preparing
Yes.
and you're kind of like cross comparing regions and plotting out insights that also helps you build a statistical report based on the data that you were able to find.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, so next up, I want to know just a little bit more so about your Heroes in the Hood. I'm sorry, not Heroes in the Hood. I'm sorry. That's another program. Heroes of COVID. Heroes of COVID. So with Heroes of COVID, what has the response been like at some of the hospitals from the doctors, and then lead into how you've kind of blown up because you've done some national interviews and things like that. So talk to us about your comprehensive impact at the ground and at the national level.
Yeah. So basically, like as part of this initiative, I have something else where like on our social media, we like share the messages like from frontline healthcare workers, sort of, because since we have like a larger following on social media, creating like sort of a platform for them basically. So because of that, to sort of amplify that with each meal, I attach like basically like a personalized thank you note. And on there, I have some of the social media, so people can reach out if they want to share. But since that's like available to them, a lot of people have just reached out to sort of talk about the impact, and that's been like really, really like heartwarming to see, because even though it's it's just a meal, like it's a really like small contribution on my part, but it's like it really brightens up their day, I guess, to see that like so many people, like all of our donors from all across the country and actually all across the world are, I guess, like standing with them and showing solidarity. So that's something that helps them get through it, basically get through their days. And actually one of the first days, like one of the first deliveries we did in New York, the team that received it had actually unfortunately just lost a teammate that day. And so that was obviously really sad, but also it was heartwarming to see that it sort of helped those teammates like get through it.
It made it better. So
yeah,
do you have people who are helping you? Because I imagine, like, how many doctors and nurses and healthcare workers are you reaching, and then who's helping you?
Yeah, so the organizing and like logistics, basically, I'm pretty much doing, but as for like actually executing the delivery, that's done by the restaurants, because since it's like a national initiative. Obviously, like I can't be there for everything, but it's been like, yeah, this couldn't have happened without the support of like, first of all, like all of our donors all across the world who made this possible, but also so many of the like administrative staff at the hospitals and a lot of restaurant staff have been really, really critical in supporting this and like getting this off the ground and getting it going. And I think one of the biggest sort of like unsung heroes of all of this is like the delivery people who, first of all, like those who are delivering meals to the hospital and sort of putting themselves at risk when they're at the hospital, and then also like for like sending out the notes and stuff, we have like USPS and everything. So there's a lot of delivery people that like I want to thank all across the country who have made this possible. And I think they really don't get the I guess glory, the recognition that they should get. They've been really
okay, so how many markets are you in?
Yeah, so I've reached so far we've done 20 states and 48 hospitals, almost. We're close to 50, like organizing. I'm currently organizing a couple more, but so far we've done over 2,100 meals. So I think in a couple of days we'll hit 2,200, hopefully.
That's wonderful. So 2,200 people reach through hospitals.
Yeah, exactly.
Particularly healthcare workers.
Right.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And something that I believe you mentioned, I heard you just mention. So do you guys have like a GoFundMe page set up? How are people providing donations?
Yeah, definitely. So when I started out, we have a GoFundMe. So that's what the first the first thing was. And so through there, I think it's like GoFundMe.com/F/Heroes of COVID, and there's like dashes in between. But basically that's what I initially started and like sent out to friends and family. And so about a third of our donations have come through there. And then another third came through people just directly like sending checks or through Facebook and stuff, just like sending their donations. And then the last third was I was really fortunate to be featured on Live with Ryan and Kelly a few weeks ago, and so they partnered up.
I'm talking to a celebrity.
Sorry?
I'm talking to a celebrity.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah. So on that, they partnered up with Unilever, and so they donated $5,000 as well. So that was like the last third.
Oh, that's fantastic! Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This is like, I hope that you can go even further. Maybe, Ellen does a really great job of helping people who are helping the people. So
that's so kind of you.
Maybe you can get on Ellen. That would be awesome too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, I want to also say, I want to any tips that you have. I know that we're going to be rounding out, but tell me some tips that you have for other, teens who are looking to start a business, and maybe some of your learned lessons that you could be of help to them as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, I guess the first thing, and I kind of mentioned this before, is that a lot of the obstacles that seem to exist don't actually. So, if you I thought since I'm a high schooler, I thought people wouldn't really take me seriously, but when you find the right people, things go really well. And I've been really fortunate and lucky to find a lot of the right people. But even of course everyone's restricted by the stay-at-home order and everything, and I had to do this from just behind my phone and behind my computer at home. And I had classes, so during business hours, between classes, I would have to that's when I would have to work on organizing things. So even though there are a lot of obstacles, if you just find the right people, you can sort of circumvent those and get around it and achieve your goal. But yeah, I think definitely anyone who wants to help their community. Unfortunately, we live in a world with a lot of problems. There's never going to be a shortage of problems. So just look at whatever skills you have and whatever you can bring to the table. And there's always going to be whatever your background is, there's always definitely going to be something you can do to help other people. So just look to your community, look at what problems are out there and your skill set, and see how those sort of come together and connect and go from there.
Awesome. Those are really great words of advice. Now, just for our viewers, you can repeat this block of information twice, but I want to make sure that people have a way to donate. If your GoFundMe is still up, can you share that? And then after you share your GoFundMe, share your social handles or website so people can stay in touch with you and follow you and support to Heroes of COVID.
Yeah, for sure. So the GoFundMe link is gofundme.com/f/heroes-of-COVID. And so you can donate through there, and you could also go, it might be a little easier to just, if you go through our site, which is heroesofcovidinitiative.com. It has all the links on there for for social media and for donations. So you can just click on that and go to the GoFundMe or Cash App or whatever method is easiest for you to donate. But yeah, as for our social media, those are also listed on the site. But so on Instagram, we're at Heroes of COVID. And Facebook, it's facebook.com /Heroes of COVID.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to repeat that. So we have Heroes of COVID Initiative.com.
Right.
That is like the one-stop place where you can go to learn about everything associated to giving to Heroes of COVID, the way that you guys can follow Heroes of COVID and stay up to date on what is happening in the cities and people who are benefiting from the healthcare space of the food donations for Heroes of COVID. So again, that is Heroes of COVID Initiative.com. Check them out online. Check them out on Instagram at Heroes of COVID. And yes, thank you so much again, Arul Nigam, for your time today. Very proud of you. Keep up the great work. And we will look to hear more from you. We are going to have a follow-up article on expressionschallenge.com with some details about this interview, as well as how to connect with Arul for Heroes of COVID. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are more than welcome. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today, and continue the great work and have an amazing day.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Talk to you. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.